Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's go over what essentially happened today in the market. Pretty wild day in the market. NVIDIA actually held for quite some time, pretty well, honestly. And then pretty much the second half of the day, it said, nah. And it puked down with the market as well. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I'll go over my thoughts, give you what I personally think can happen next. And yeah, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, I do share my thoughts every single day with my members in my YouTube membership. For just $3 a month, you get access to my thoughts mainly on Tesla stock, of course, or for $5, that includes the NVIDIA tier as well, which of course naturally includes the first tier, Tesla and sometimes other stocks, plus NVIDIA as well. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Link is down below. But jumping into it, NVIDIA closing the day down with a pretty whopping 4% to the downside, closing at $134.50 per share, which again, I still think relative to the market is, it's held up fairly well, honestly, even despite today's 4% drawdown. But it finally came down to that level. Right now, I was I was second guessing. Maybe I was reading too many of the comments because everyone was telling me there's no way it's coming down here. It's just going straight up. Well, it clearly came down to my 134 level that I was calling out for. Now, again, with that being said, I do think that this 134, 133-ish range right here should I use the word should because you never know for sure in this kind of market. It's pretty wild days, but it should hold some decent support around this area. I think the worst case is still closer to 129, 128, something like that, which would be essentially back down to that kind of market bias, mean reversion on the daily type scenario, right? Again, like 129-ish, give or take a dollar. But I don't see it going much lower than that up into earnings, right? Earnings is, of course, massive unknown. Nobody knows what will happen there. Will it just shoot up or will it actually come straight back down? Nobody knows what will happen on earnings and how the stock will react, even if the earnings are potentially pretty good. You never know. I think last time NVIDIA had pretty good earnings over here. Yeah, it was up here and the stock still tanked. So you never know. You just don't know, right? You don't know how the stock is going to react. But we did come down to my level that I talked about after this rejection up here, right? This rejection was pretty crucial. It was that Fibonacci rejection, it was that trend line rejection, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now we ended up not actually fully holding the way I would have liked to see the trend line down over here, right? This little trend line here that we, before acted as a massive support. We obviously held it for a few days in a row, but today, of course, it pretty much invalidated that thesis entirely, and we did come down to my level. So what can we expect moving forward? Well, again, like I said, I do expect this general range right here as, about this 134 to as low as like worst case 129-ish. I don't expect us to go much lower than that, at least until earnings. After that, we'll see. But I also don't expect us to go much higher than about 141-ish, we'll say, right? I don't think we'll go much higher than that as well. So I think it's going to be probably most likely, my guess is it'll be a boring few days as you await the earnings on Wednesday, I think it is, right? Wednesday's earnings, yeah. It will be probably a boring few days, right? As we do a whole lot of nothing still. I know I said a whole lot of nothing, but I mean, a 4% drawdown after this kind of push up, in my opinion, is not a whole lot. It's still kind of a whole lot of nothing. You're not retracing that much, right? You're pretty much back at the prices we were at like a week ago. It's not that big of a deal, ultimately. So keep that in mind. But again, I still stand by my original thesis that I stated like several days ago, 141, 142-ish to as low as 134, 133-ish, worst case 129, right? There's really not much more to update. Now, there is something however, to update, unfortunately, when it comes to the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame is printing what could be a bit of a concern here. So let's go over the weekly here quickly. Right, so number one, we are still, of course, holding that market bias in the red, right? That is still something that I don't like, which is why I'm still kind of holding off on NVIDIA a bit here. There's just, because if there's the reason I'm holding off on NVIDIA, for now at least, I'll see how, we go into earnings, but for now, is mainly because, like I said, on the daily, why would I buy up here when I can just wait for a confirmed breakout and then buy on strength? We clearly didn't get that. So if I was, FOMOing in like everyone in the comments was telling me how it's going higher, which again, it could after earnings. I'm not saying it can't, but I can get a better entry today. As an example, why would you not just wait for another % move to the upside for a confirmed breakout? Like, why not wait for that confirmation, right? And that's why I didn't buy. But the weekly is a little bit concerning, mainly because, again, we're still holding this market bias as red. So it's like, I'd rather just wait for this thing to turn back to green for at least some extra confidence. Now, obviously nothing is perfect, but that will give me more confidence. But the thing that is a bit of a concern is the fact that these two weekly candles are potentially printing what could be a pretty bearish reversal pattern. What is it? It's called a dark cloud bearish reversal pattern. Where essentially here it looks like this, right? You can see two candle pattern, trend reversal pattern, effective if found during uptrend, first candle green, second candle red. Both candles should be big, I think you can argue, you can make a pretty good case that both candles are big enough. Both candles should be big. Red candle opens above the green candle. Red candle opens above the green candle, which we did. We opened at 141 and change this week, I believe it was, right? Open at 141.27. And then the red candle closes slightly above the bottom of the green candle. This is slightly above usually what it actually is 50%. Like for instance, this one's at 50%. Usually you want this to close at around 50% or lower of the green candle. So in this case, our closure this week should be at about 50% or lower of last week's middle range of the overall price, right? So if you were to like cut it in half, and we're pretty much there. Like you can argue this is about 50%. Like I'm not going to draw it out, measure to perfection, of course, but you can make an argument that this looks pretty damn similar to what these reversal candles look like, right? It's pretty close, right? It's pretty close. So that's a little bit of a concern. Now, naturally, again, with earnings, it can completely invalidate technical analysis, right? With earnings, you never know, right? You never know. Anything can happen with earnings. But just strictly off of technical analysis right now, because that's all we got, this is technically speaking a bearish reversal pattern. And I think it will be even more confirmed because usually these patterns need confirmation. What's a confirmation? A red close next week, right? Kind of like what we had this week over here. We had this bullish thing. We had a nice little bullish engulfing weekly candle this week over here with these two candles. Then we had a nice follow through of that. And now we're kind of doing the opposite in a sense, right? So we need some confirmation. And I think a red week next week would be confirmation of that. So let's see how next week actually plays out. Let's see if earnings ends up being a good, move or not a good move for the bulls or the bears. Let's see how it plays out. Let me see if I go over here. What is, we can take a look at the percentage of this reversal pattern and see what is the reversal here. Bearish reversal 60% of the time. So yeah, it does favor the bears slightly. It does favor the bears slightly. Earnings can, of course, fix this mistake. There's no question about that. It absolutely can. But when I see these two signs with this bearish candlestick pattern and, of course, the market bias still red, I'm patient, right? I'm patient. I'm being patient about it. I'll see how we go into earnings. I'm not rushing into it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. It just sometimes patience is required. Sometimes, I wish I listened to myself sometimes as well. I don't always have the patience that I preach, I guess you can say. I made a big mistake with coin today. I ended up selling cash puts on coin, which I could have closed out for profit in the morning. Ended up completely crashing on the day, down 8%. Thankfully, I closed it not at the low of the day. I closed it slightly above, but I still ended up taking what could have been just a easiest profit ever. And not only did I lose the profit, but I ended up going in the red a fair amount. So, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, so anyways, the point with NVIDIA is not a fan of the weekly here. Could use some help. Earnings can be that catalyst, but again, I don't know what's going to be. And I would rather wait for confirmation rather than buy and kind of hope for the best. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. I actually do want to go over options flow very quickly before I end off the video. So take a quick look, see what's happening for a big week next week for NVIDIA. Let's see. So nice call, a little bit of calls coming in on NVIDIA, but definitely a decent amount of puts coming in. Pretty mixed throughout the day, actually. Overall put and call flow has been pretty mixed. 44 million throughout the day and 38 million puts, so pretty mixed throughout the day. And 50 million confirmed bearish flow, which is a fair amount for NVIDIA. Not crazy, but it's a fair amount. So yeah, next week is the big week. Let's see how it plays out. I mean, I personally obviously hope it goes down. Why do I hope it goes down? Because I would love to re-enter NVIDIA at cheap prices, right? But if it breaks out, I'll buy on strength, right? I will buy on strength. I don't really care. I'll do either or. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't feel like gambling over here that much. I'll be completely honest with you. This to me right here is just a gamble. We can go up or down. It's earnings. Who knows? I don't feel like gambling too much on there right now. And again, worst case scenario on NVIDIA, in my opinion, there's two worst case scenarios, right? Worst case scenario number one that still holds an actual bullish thesis, even short term, is we drop down to about 125. Worst case, while that bullish thesis holds intact, is about 120. That's these two Fibonacci retracements all the way down here, which if we get to one of these, and especially down to this 119 one, I will happily buy that dip. The true worst case though, like the bearish worst case scenario, like in terms of like things really don't go well, is a move all the way back down to the channel sometime in maybe early March to about 105. That is like the true bearish case, worst case scenario. Again, nobody knows if that'll happen. I don't know if that'll happen. You don't know if that'll happen. Nobody knows if that's going to happen. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, while we remain in this downward channel, You can't technically ignore that possibility because that is a possibility. Same thing as Tesla's looking like right now. Also in this downward channel slash wedge, Tesla could potentially make its way down to 300, which for Tesla in this case would be a drop of another, honestly, it's not even that bad. It's only another 10%. For Tesla, they could do that in one day, no problems. But yeah, just, watch out, right? That is a possibility. It is what it is. Whether that makes bulls unhappy or not, I don't really, I don't care. If you're unhappy, sucks to suck. But again, we could also break out, right? So again, we need to see how earnings plays out, but the levels to look for, what to watch for. And again, the main thing I don't like right now, personally speaking, is that weekly time frame candlestick pattern. Not a fan of the way this looks. So yeah, let's see. But all in all, thanks for watching. I'll see you on Monday. Peace.